And now we're joined by Anthony Burch, lead writer of Borderlands 2. Anthony, how you doing?
Doing great.
Fantastic. So you just built the ultimate build for Krieg the Psycho Bandit. You want to tell us what skills you chose?
Yes. So this is a level 61 character. He's in Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. And I went really heavy into the Mania Tree. I'm basically going for a sort of melee type build where I'm going to focus on keeping my shields down, taking a lot of damage to my health to recharge my action skill faster, and then being okay with being in the down state because it allows me to light the fuse and throw dynamite at people. I also did a little bit of the Bloodlust tree to get my mag size bigger, to allow me to take less damage in Buzz Axe Rampage, and to allow me to throw dynamite at people every time I throw my Buzz Axe.
All right, let's check some of this out in action. So this is Lynchwood we're in right now?
Yes, we are in Lynchwood, which is a pretty badass place to show off Krieg because there's a whole lot of bandits that are susceptible to his kind of fire damage and his melee stuff. So,
awesome. All right, so while we're taking damage and you're running around blasting everybody, kind of walk us through what's going on with your character.
So right now I'm focusing on getting a lot of overkill damage. He's got a skill called Thrill the Kill, where basically if you overkill an enemy, a percentage of that damage is returned to you as health. So I'm using this slag shotgun to get everybody slagged to make them take a lot of damage, and then I'm using my my melee damage to do a whole crap load of damage to them, then it comes back to me as health. I'm making sure that my shield gets down before I attack anybody.
Yeah, as Paul said, this is a high-risk, high-reward kind of character, right?
You can do a tremendous amount of damage, as you see that I'm getting a lot of K damage, meaning thousands. That was actually, I think, over 1 million damage there because it was 1,000 something K.
Can you tell us a little bit about Krieg's kind of like personality? What makes this character different from the rest?
Yeah, what makes Krieg kind of interesting is that he is kind of a dual personality character because, you know, on the one hand, the promise of Krieg is like, be the bad guy, you know, play the psycho, play the villain, and that's kind of inherently kind of cool. But at the same time, we didn't want to have you feel like, you know, a homicidal maniac with no redeeming qualities. So Krieg's actually got sort of two aspects to his personality. He's got his more insane kind of outward aggressive personality, and very, very rarely you'll hear the sane man who's basically trapped inside of him trying to, oh my god, I obliterated that guy, trying to basically steer him on the right path. So without the sane voice inside of him, Krieg would just be a absolutely just unhinged, murderous psychopath. But with the guy inside of him, he actually turns into a person that is still really violent and brutal, but he's at least channeling that brutality toward the right people.
Is there any kind of like introduction to his character once you load him up?
Actually, what we're doing is we're releasing a video, about 3 or 4 minute short film that basically describes who this guy is. To promote the character. It's, you know, we did a little bit of that with Gage where you got to hear those little echo recordings about her trying to escape the planet that she lived on and trying to enter the science fair and stuff like that. With Krieg, we actually have a full short film coming and it's going to be really cool.
Awesome. I'm just curious what your experience was like working on this character. Did you find him particularly challenging or was it a really fun project for you?
Narratively, it was really, really, really fun, and gameplay-wise especially, too, because Paul and I, we shared an office during the production of Borderlands 2, just in general, and I always played like a psychopath just to begin with. I don't like taking cover, I don't like caring about my shields, I just kind of like getting in there and getting into down state and mixing, fart for your life mode, yeah, that's what I meant to say, fight for your life mode. And so being able to sort of play every new build of this character and work with Paul and be like, well, this is what I like, this is what I didn't like, just basically giving a lot of focus feedback was really, really, really fun. And to just sort of see the evolution of this character from somebody that was always intended to be kind of high risk, high reward and kind of crazy and make you want to do things that you don't normally want to do, and actually then feeling that in the gameplay of wanting to have your shields down, wanting to be on fire.
Awesome. Was he much different? Like, did he change much during the development process, or was he kind of always very much the way he is now?
The basic philosophy was always the same in terms of like be crazy, do things you don't normally want to do, but the specifics were actually different. He used to have a whole skill tree that was about being in fight for your life mode, where it was getting damage bonuses to fight for your life mode and encouraging you to always be in fight for your life. But the more we sort of thought about that and worked with that, it became obvious that it was kind of It was cute, but it was not a deep enough mechanic to spend an entire tree on. So there's still that element to his character, especially in the Mania Tree, but it's not an overarching aspect of that particular tree. Yeah, there's a skill called Silence the Voices for Krieg, where basically he will get a massive increase to his melee damage, up to 250% if you put 5 points in the skill, but he also then gets a 12% chance to attack himself every time he melees. And depending on how you spec your character, if you spec your character into being really melee heavy, that can actually really hurt you. I've knocked myself into fight for your life mode with my own melee attacks more than a few times. But again, that's kind of the fun of him, and the risk-reward aspect is that you can do a tremendous amount of damage if you build him correctly, but you're also occasionally just going to smack yourself in the face and die. But actually what's cool is that it has really good convergence, or synergy rather, with the light the fuse skill. So sometimes I'll find myself hitting myself in the face so hard that I go down, but then I just pull out a stick of TNT and then I go to town anyway. And it's this really cool game loop of endlessly insane things happening one right after another.
I mean, you were hitting some of these enemies for like close to 1 million damage.
Oh yeah, no, more than 1 million damage easily. Especially in second playthrough, True Vault Hunter mode or Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, you'll easily be seeing the little red K come up next to your damage numbers almost every time you hit somebody in Buzz-Axe Rampage if you've spec'd your character in a particular way. He's a complex character in many ways, but if you figure out his secrets and how to make him work, so there you go, that was me just hitting myself in the face. If you figure out how to make him work properly for you, then he's amazing. So again, even the badass mode Buzz-Axe Rampage I just did, if you the amount of health that you need to go into badass mode Buzz-Axe Rampage is identical to the amount of health you generally get coming out of that fight for your life mode. So you can, let me suggest something that can happen in the game. You can kill a bunch of people with your melee, accidentally melee yourself in the face, and then go into fight for your life mode. But then you pull out a stick of dynamite, you start blowing up other people. You blow up a final guy to get out of fight for your life mode, but now you have so little health that you activate your Buzz-Axe Rampage, turn into a badass psycho, and get all your health back, and then kill 5 more people with millions of damage.
Awesome. So he sounds like the perfect character for people who like to see the numbers fly.
Yes. If you were into tremendous amounts of violence and not taking cover, then this is your guy, because that's my playstyle personally. He's my favorite character.
Perfect. All right. Well, that should do it for Krieg's character. Thank you so much, Anthony, for joining us.
Oh, thank you.